The update we got from the Republican Party on the next round of financial aid finally revealed yesterday with Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell announcing the Health Economic Assistance Liability Protection and Schools, or HEALS Act, which features another round of stimulus checks for qualifying Americans, but a reduction in additional unemployment aid, something that might get pushed back in negotiations with Democrats later today. But for more on the latest out of Washington, D.C., I want to bring on Yahoo Finance's Jessica Smith, who has more on what's included in the HEALS Act. And Jessica, it's mainly in line with what we were expecting, given the, I guess, the leadership there that we heard from Secretary of the Treasury, Stephen Mnuchin.
Yeah, it was. And we did finally get a look at exactly what Republicans are proposing. There were several different pieces of legislation that all make up the HEALS Act. And as you mentioned, this will include another round of stimulus checks. It's $1,200 direct payments to most Americans. And there will also be 5-year liability protections in the Republican plan for businesses and healthcare providers, other institutions. There's more money for the Paycheck Protection Program, and it allows some small businesses to get a second PPP loan. There's also money for schools with an emphasis on in-person classes. And then, of course, we have that enhanced unemployment insurance. The weekly federal boost to the benefits is down to $200 a week in the Republican package. That's down from $600 where it stands now. Democratic lawmakers are very unhappy about this proposal. It's missing several of their key priorities, like state and local funding, hazard pay for frontline workers, an eviction moratorium. And then, of course, they're very unhappy with the unemployment insurance. I talked to Senator Sherrod Brown of Ohio about this. He says it's a betrayal of workers. Let's watch.
To take tens of millions of workers and cut the amount of money that they're barely getting by on their unemployment anyway, and to cut that money by 2/3, to take $400 a week from people that are barely making it, it's cruel, number one. It means spirited, but it's also stupid public policy, because it means those workers aren't spending their money in the economy because they don't have the money, and as a result, the economy will begin to falter again.
Set to meet with Treasury Secretary Stephen Mnuchin and the White House Chief of Staff later today, so we'll keep you updated if we get any updates about those bipartisan talks.
And Jess, I mean, on that front too, there's a lot in there about, trying to support workers here, and you heard that in that sound clip we just played. But there are other aspects of this as well when we think about tying some aid to schools. We'll be chatting about that later on in the show. But I mean, there's a bunch of different elements of this, maybe attached to the economy, but then also treating the underlying health epidemic there as well when we think about testing and support for frontline workers there. But when we think about the gap here that we'll watch play out later today when Republicans and Democrats meet on this, I mean, obviously around a $1 trillion package here on the Republican side and about $3 trillion in that HEROES Act we saw the House pass. I mean, there's a large room here. So what are you expecting in terms of concessions to get both sides to meet in the middle?
I think this is going to be pretty tough. This round of negotiations, I think everyone agrees, is going to be harder than the CARES Act, because not only do you have Republicans and Democrats who are negotiating with each other, trying to bridge that $1 trillion and $3 trillion gap, but you also have a lot of disagreement within the Republican Party. There are a lot of Republicans who are not on board with the HEALS Act. We heard from Senator Lindsey Graham again this afternoon. He told reporters that 50% of the Republican caucus might vote no on this. So we'll have to see where they give and take. But right now, it's really difficult when the Republicans aren't on board with one plan.
Yeah, buckle up. It should be interesting, especially since when we saw the CARES Act get passed, unity was not that hard to reach. We'll see what happens in this round here. But Jess Smith, appreciate you bringing us that.